All right, let's talk about hospitals. We're always thinking about sterilized instruments, clean hands, right? But what about the biggest surface in literally every single room? The walls. Today, we're going to dig into why these surfaces, which we usually just ignore, are actually a critical battleground for infection control. And more importantly, how a new technology is completely changing the game.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll uncover the risks that are hiding in plain sight on hospital walls. Then we'll get into why the old-school solutions just don't cut it anymore. After that, we'll introduce a revolutionary seamless technology, see how it's built for the real world, and finally, we'll look at what all this means for the future of patient safety. Ready? Let's get into it.
Okay, first up, the unseen risk. Let's really establish why we need to be paying way more attention to walls in the first place.
I mean, it's a serious question to ask yourself. We tend to think of walls as just there. They're static. But in a clinical setting, no way. They are active surfaces. They're constantly getting bombarded. And if they're not designed the right way, they can become a massive weak link in the entire chain of patient safety. I mean, just think about what a hospital wall goes through on a daily basis. You've got bioaerosols from coughs, splashes from all kinds of procedures. You have carts, beds, and people bumping into them, causing scuffs. And then you have the cleaning crew coming in with aggressive disinfectants. But here's the kicker. The very chemicals we use to clean, things like quats and bleach, can actually damage the wall finish, creating these tiny microscopic gaps that trap the exact same contaminants we're trying to get rid of. It's a crazy paradox.
So, that brings us right to the traditional way of doing things, and all its problems. Section 2. The failure of vinyl. This is all about how it seams and adhesives actually make things less safe.
For a long time, vinyl wraps were the go-to, but it turns out their biggest weakness is the way they're made. Every single seam, every overlap is a perfect little trap for debris and pathogens. The adhesives, they just break down over time from all those harsh chemicals, which causes the edges to lift up and bubble. And that creates what the experts call harborage points, basically tiny little safe houses for germs. And forget about textured surfaces like concrete blocks or CMU. Getting a good bond there is almost impossible, making those edges a constant hygiene problem. And this slide right here, this really lays it all out. On the one side, you have the problem, vinyl, with its seams and glues that are just fundamentally wrong for a sterile environment. And on the other side, you have the ideal, a single unbroken monolithic surface. The whole goal is to eliminate every single possible hiding place for germs, period.
Which brings us to the turning point in our story. Section 3. The seamless solution. We're talking about the rise of direct-to-wall printing. This is where modern technology finally steps in to solve this huge problem.
The first and honestly the most important advantage is this. It completely gets rid of the #1 failure point. Because you're printing directly onto the wall, there are no seams. It's that simple. No gaps, no edges that can peel up or trap dirt. You get one solid, continuous surface.
Second, you get rid of that chemical weak link, the glue. There's no separate layer of adhesive that's going to break down when it gets hit with hospital-grade disinfectants day after day. The image is literally bonded to the wall itself, which makes it way more durable and removes another huge point of failure.
And this really gets to the heart of it. The graphic isn't just on the wall, it becomes part of the wall. It's a totally integrated, completely cleanable surface.
So what is this stuff exactly? Well, direct-to-wall printing is a technology that uses a special printer to apply super high-resolution graphics right onto pretty much any prepared surface. We're talking drywall, concrete, you name it. And the result is this amazing, seamless image that's bonded right to the wall, with zero of the failure points you get with vinyl.
Okay, so this all sounds great in a lab, right? But how does it actually hold up in the real world, in a busy, chaotic hospital? Let's jump to Section 4 and see how this is truly built for clinical realities. We're talking durability, cleanability, and an installation process that causes almost no disruption.
I mean, this head-to-head chart really says it all. Harborage points, high for vinyl, 0 for direct-to-wall. Disinfectant resistance, vinyl degrades, but this new tech is engineered to handle it. Installation, you've got high disruption with vinyl versus incredibly low disruption here. And the life cycle, this is a total game changer. You go from frequent, costly replacements to a long-term surface that you can just paint right over when it's time for an update.
And let's talk about speed for a second, because this is huge. Get this.
An entire zone, like a whole corridor or a nurse's station, can often be done in less than 5 hours. Think about what that means. You don't have to shut down critical patient areas for days. The work can happen between shifts, and then bam, the space is back in service. It's a massive operational advantage.
And the process itself is just incredibly slick. The crew comes in, preps a surface, the machine does its thing and prints the graphic on site, and the area is ready to go almost immediately. There's no demolition, no nasty adhesive fumes, no closing down wings of the hospital for days on end. It's just efficient.
So let's zoom out. What does this all mean for the bigger picture? Let's wrap this up with our final section, the future of safe surfaces. Because this really is becoming the new standard for patient environments. If you're a hospital administrator or a facilities manager, the long-term wins here are just immense. You're getting a surface that can actually stand up to your cleaning protocols. You can update spaces with just a simple coat of paint. You're cutting down on material waste and the cost of constantly replacing torn vinyl. Plus, you can keep your branding and wayfinding consistent across an entire health system, all while getting rid of that constant headache of fixing peeling seams.
And this quote just nails it. This isn't just a pretty wall covering. It's a mature healthcare technology. It's a real tool that actively helps with infection prevention goals, and at the same time, it makes the hospital a more welcoming, less intimidating place for patients.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. We invest millions in all this advanced medical equipment to keep patients safe. But what if one of the smartest, most effective, and longest-lasting investments you could make is in the very surface that surrounds them every single day? What if the wall itself is the new frontier? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for watching.